sure. Did you just break my laptop?
No, that's what it took for mine. It
Yeah.
took a long time.
It took a few minutes.
And then Abby was freaking out.
Oh, I was losing it. 'Cause I didn't know how Canon set up my computer last time I had this used. Oh yeah, thank you, Shimon.
The other thing you can do is unplug and plug it back in. Sometimes it works.
Is this supposed to turn like black?
We're still waiting on.
When I unplug it, should my computer still be blank like that?
No. Is it charged?
It was fully charged.
That's interesting.
Oh, please don't do this to me. It's making noise. Ha! Back up. So how are you guys?
Good, I'm done.
Yeah.
I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, hey.
How you doing there, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
What are you doing now?
Man, I'm teaching and coaching in Grand High School.
Okay.
And we just brought some kids up here from Boise, LA. They're taking a tour of the campus. And they're in a scavenger hunt, so we're trying to catch them in the coach and take a selfie so they can put it on their Instagram. So, appreciate it, man. Good seeing you, man. All right, you guys take it easy. Sorry to interrupt your meeting.
No, I mean, you're not interrupting anything. Pending.
Do you have it on CapEx?
No. I
I
should.
swear, every
but I
time I'm
don't.
with you, somebody comes out of nowhere and it's like, great.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody.
Yeah, you do.
Marty's probably on the highlight video that you guys see in prep care. But he was a running back and slid and bent over his leg while his leg was out on the ground. Did damage to his LCL, but the hardest part of that was he actually damaged the permanent tendon. So he had a drop foot for probably 6 to 9 months before he had normal function, dorsiflexion flexion. So it took him a while to get back, but yeah, he was part of that.
That's crazy.
As soon as we plugged it in the TV, it just like shut down.
You're good.
Don't worry, we got time.
I know, but I'm still in the morning.
Do you need a second to take a breather?
Are you the last one
Relax
today?
before you
Is
start?
Kimmy's not here.
Well,
She's not coming, Kimmy.
no, but I do want my computer to hopefully not be broken because it's expensive.
I'll fix it.
I think it might. Yeah, you're. It's
I got it. I got it.
Where is mine?
I had a mental breakdown last night.
What
I
happened?
laughed for a solid 20 minutes. My room.
Isn't this the louder than Jordan and Ryan?
Yeah.
So I had a mental breakdown last night and just went Grey's Anatomy pretty much all night with Laura. I just was over it.
My computer is telling me this is embarrassing. Unexpected shutdown. I guess that's embarrassing.
You feel better tomorrow? Or done?
Exciting.
Do I have to film on Wednesday?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So when Anna gets done, I do have a sign up sheet for practicals. You guys are interested in
I think I just wrote.
Completely
Uh,
forgot about that.
yeah, it sounds like nobody is interested in Thursday prep
No.
this week,
No.
but there are times open.
Jokes.
Next week, there are tentatively times on Monday, although I may need to reschedule those if anybody signs up for those. I have some family things that are stuff in the but then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's a lot of time open. And you guys have to have them done by 5 o'clock on Thursday. I would recommend that you, they're half-hour blocks, but I would recommend that you sign up for an hour, just in case you go long. If you and somebody else are going back to back, sign up for an hour and a half, and you guys should be good. That should be good.
I didn't see the a little bit in my mouth. I forgot about that.
Model needs to be somebody from the program, so please plan ahead that way. But I mean, with only 7 of you guys, there should be enough availability for me. There's some evening times too, on a couple nights if that works better.
Aren't the knees fine? Or is that like 8 o'clock?
Tuesdays.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
project is due Tuesday also, and our take home is due Thursday.
What project?
Project for this class is due on Tuesday.
Oh, I thought you meant have normal, and I was like, we have a project.
But the John Nash homework is due Wednesday too, this Wednesday.
Okay, are you taking video?
And my book leaves on that.
I did, Andrew said we're going out at the track meet, and I was like, oh my god, did you watch this beautiful mind? I was like, what are you talking about? So I did it like that night, thinking it was due Monday for class. No,
Yeah.
no.
No.
I don't know how, like, it's not on Netflix, so I don't.
Were you gonna find them
I've
I
seen
watched
it.
it online.
I've seen it a while ago, but
If they're like questions are super easy.
Isn't it in the library?
Yeah,
Online.
you can watch it. It is
Yeah,
on
but
my
it's
library.
really good. We've got lots of time.
Yeah, it's on my
What
library.
were you gonna partner with on?
I don't know. Show it about it. Are you in front of me?
I don't know.
It's probably.
My
But
part-
you already gonna like, said yes to all that. I didn't say yes to anyone on it and ask. Neither did you. I'm a free agent right now. Okay. Do you wanna do it again? Sure. All right, no longer free agent. Are you doing it? Abby?
I don't know.
I just emailed it to myself.
Do you guys, are you guys working today?
Where?
I'm gonna go over manual testing.
Try some plugging in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna work.
Oh, do you still have my flashcards? Yes.
We're using them, stop.
Do you want, I mean, if you want to use them. go.
You wanna come? If you're not
Did
busy.
you find them?
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah,
bad
and then-
at flashcards. Just flashcards. Love them.
I mean, you can come study with us if you want to, Al.
I
You're not
always got
busy.
a doctor's appointment and she's coming.
Where is the
Don't die.
And then it's nap time.
That sounds beautiful.
Well, it's not really. It's
None
not.
of that.
So,
This.
are you guys ready? Because I am. Hi, I'm Anna, and I'll be presenting today on a case study of a Colles fracture. So to start off, I just want to talk a little bit about what a Colles fracture is. A Colles fracture is a fracture of the distal radius. It is a dorsally displaced fracture, which means that the radius generally is displaced backward from the back of your hand. And it's called a Colles fracture because it's named after the first physician to actually recognize and treat that, Abraham Colles. So just a little bit of anatomy for you guys. The wrist is made up of the radius, the ulna, and the carpal. So the radius and the ulna actually articulate together right here, and then they both articulate with the carpal bones. The radius articulates with the lunate and the scaphoid. It's important to remember that when a Colles fracture occurs, it's also fairly common for a scaphoid fracture to occur, which is shown in this picture right here. So when we were checking him for his radial fracture when we were taking our x-rays, we also checked the scaphoid just to be sure that that did not also fracture. Luckily in this case, he had just a radial fracture. So a little bit about the soft tissue. There's a ton going on in the hand. There's a lot of minute detail, but the most important things to remember are the extensors because the radius is displaced toward the extensor muscles. You have your extensor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis brevis, and your carpi extensors. The most important one in this particular case is the extensor pollicis longus because that runs right over the area where the fracture occurs. So it's fairly common to also have that muscle ruptured. Again, luckily in this case that wasn't what happened, but we did take an MRI just to rule that out. So about 60% of all wrist fractures are actually Colles fractures, and those 60% of fractures make up about 10 to 25% of all fractures seen in the ER. So it's fairly common fracture. It's well known, seen often, and is generally in males from ages 5 to 24 or from women in ages 65. Generally, the males are younger because they're engaged in more contact sport, more high trauma incidents, and then women over 65 tend to have poor bone density, poor bone strength, and fall more often. So a mechanism is a fallen and outstretched hand, or a foosh. Generally, in an athletic population, you'll see that in contact sports, so football, soccer, basketball, dirt biking, cycling, anything with high energy trauma, high forces that will knock you over. So case details. We had a 20-year-old NCAA Division III soccer player participating in a preseason game when he was slide tackled, which caused him to foosh or fall on his outstretched hand. He went down, athletic trainers went out there immediately, there was obvious swelling, obvious deformity, so we splinted him, gave him some ice, and sent him to the hospital to talk to our team physician. We also checked sensation because the median nerve runs through that area, and all of that was fine, so there were no nerve complications. He had no previous injury, and that was the first time he ever got hurt. So when we took him to the hospital, had him do his x-rays and MRIs, we found that he had a extra-articular displaced fracture, which means it was a clean break, but it was displaced backwards, and it causes something called a dinner fork deformity, which is the picture that you saw on the first slide. So there's several different types of surgical intervention that were discussed. These are the most common, including bridging and non-bridging external fixation, which is this picture right here is a bridging external fixation. Also dorsal plating, column plating, and volar locking plate. Those are all internal fixations. And when we talked to the surgeon about it, he decided to go with a volar locking plate. The volar locking plate is placed on the palmar side, so your radius is displaced this way, it pulls it back down. You screw a titanium plate in there, and then that will keep the radius from displacing. We chose that because it has the most axial stability. It allows the athlete to begin mobility sooner, which is key to sooner participation. The athlete's goals were to get back into play by the end of the postseason, which may or may not have been particularly realistic, but those were his goals, so this is where we went. He also was young and able to heal better and more quickly, so this was the best opportunity. He was paired with a functional brace to immobilize the arm during ADLs 24 hours a day, with the exception of rehab. It allows you to fit for flexion extension, supination, and flexion extension, radial deviation, and ulnar deviation. You can make it completely immovable, or you can change it as you go. So the more motion he got throughout rehab, we could change his brace a little bit to help him out with his ADLs. So the overall goals included the elimination of pain and swelling, activities of daily life, full pain-free range of motion, including flexibility, full strength, and then his ability to engage in sport-specific activity without endangering himself more than he would usually be endangered, and finally full unrestricted return to play. So phase 1 was during week 1, and that was basically acute wound care. We were working on getting the swelling out of the area. We were using E-stim for pain. We were using compression and ice mostly for swelling, as well as a little bit of range of motion to help pump that swelling out of the area. We also used laser on the wound care after the stitches were removed. Stitches were removed about 1 week post-surgery, and we wanted to get those healing as quickly as possible. So the checkpoints were that the wounds were fully healed from the surgery, stitches were removed, he was pain-free, and he had limited swelling. Moving on to phase 2, that was weeks 2 to 6. And the point of those were to control the rest of his pain and swelling. There was minimal to none at that point, as well as to restore his ADL, so brushing his teeth, picking up lighter things, eating food with that hand, and then to restore his range of motion. Sorry. So what happens when my computer shuts down on me? So range of motion started with passive range of motion and moved on to active range of motion. The earlier the stage, so the first 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, we were mostly focused on finger range of motion and elbow range of motion rather than the wrist, because the wrist was still pretty new and healing. And then we did do some wrist range of motion there, but it was not emphasized until the later last 4, 5, 6 weeks. So the ranges of motion at the wrist are flexion, extension, supination, pronation, radial deviation, and ulnar deviation. And all of those exercises were, again, passive, and then we eventually moved on to resisted in the next phase. So examples were, for example, apple picker, which used both for swelling and range of motion. So you bring your arm up above, like you're going to pick an apple. That pumping range of motion helps to pump the swelling out of the wrist, and it also works on the finger range of motion. You come back down. Also, windshield wiper, which can be done on a table. It's more of a closed kinetic chain type range of motion, where you just are doing deviation against that table. ABCs, for range of motion would be flexion, extension, and the deviations, and the 6-way opposite in pronation and supination. So the checkpoints for this were pain-free range of motion, 80 to 100% restored range of motion as compared bilaterally, and the lack of a need for immobilization and ADLs. So the functional brace was only necessary in activity at that point. So phase 3 is week 7 to 9. Goals were to increase flexibility, to provide basic wrist strength, and then to begin participating in the sport again. So that was mostly done by stretching, joint mobilizations, resisted range of motion for strength using TheraBands, lifelines, movement patterns in water. We started out with a closed kinetic chain and moved on to an open kinetic chain. Closed kinetic chain with TheraBand is he would just stick his foot under the TheraBand and that would provide that closed circuit for him to do. We also did a push-up progression. So you start out against the wall where it's not as much weight bearing, and then he moved on to be able to do it on the table, and eventually was able to do it on the ground. So checkpoints for all of those were to have pain-free strength exercises. So, for example, in the progressions of TheraBands or lifelines, he had to be able to perform his full maximum reps and sets with pain-free before moving on to the next progression, and then to have the maximal progression pain-free to move on to the next phase. He had to have full range of motion and the ability to perform sport-specific demands without pain, meaning running, jogging, sprinting, all agility drills without having pain caused by clenching with his arm. He still was not performing contact sport. He also was not doing throw-ins or anything involving his arms, weightlifting, upper body, anything like that. He was just doing his resistance exercises. So by the time he got back to unrestricted return to play, he had to be 100% pain-free range of motion as compared bilaterally, strength 80 to 100% as compared bilaterally. Good cardiovascular endurance, core strength, and he had to be psychologically stable, meaning that he was able to return to play without any kind of concerns. He was confident, he wasn't worried about